The show is about to begin.
Hang in there, it is! Smylie Kaufman for 61. Wow.
Featuring Smylie Kaufman.
If you're at a local IHOP at a PGA Tour event, you might see Hideki Matsuyama.
Clear up in the stance, strengthen the grip.
His co-host, Charlie Hulme.
We've now picked 5 of the last 8 winners on the PGA Tour.
Oh, just go in the hole. Please go in the hole. Please go in the hole. Please go in the hole.
Yes, sir!
And the biggest names in golf.
That's a great question. Can I talk about it?
I don't think I'm ready.
How good does it get, SK?
Why not us, Charlie?
Today, live from the Pinecrest Inn, it's the Smylie Show. So long, everybody.
This is the Smylie Show.
Hola.
Oh, hold on. Okay, there we go. Okay, scared me for a second. I thought we were back to our days of tech issues of old.
I was sitting here doing a little bit of stat counting.
Ah,
Collin
how
Morikawa
about that?
getting the dub. I had the best GIF lined up for Sepp Straka. You know Vince McMahon? Is that his name? The WWE guy?
Vince McMahon. Yeah.
McMahon.
Mhm.
You know when he does this. You know.
Yes. Yeah.
I had written out. I'm so disappointed that I didn't have the opportunity to tell my kids about the eagle that Sepp made at 18 after a 15-minute wait. Just Colin's emotional, man.
Yeah. We as Smylie mentioned, we're currently watching. As we fired the intro, Colin's last putt dropped for the win. And we're listening now to him talk on the CBS broadcast. This is Colin's first win since the end of 2023 at the Zozo.
And like they're expecting. Did I just hear that right?
That could be the case. We saw his wife walking up. They're married, correct? Do some fact checking on that. Yes. I was gonna say. I don't want to be presumptuous. There.
Charlie said, "Is this out of wedlock?"
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, everyone does things at their own timing. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying I didn't want to improperly label a significant other, especially on Valentine's Day weekend of all times. I'm playing hurt a little bit. I feel like this is I've done this now twice this year where I've synced up. I'm on the same virus schedule or bug schedule as Ludwig Oberg, where they're expecting. Okay, good. Yeah. So I'm a little bit banged up. We're playing a little bit of a flu game this week. We're gonna do the best we can. Apologies if lack of mental clarity shows up in the show, but for Colin to win, the first thing I thought about watching that putt drop was we spent the whole year 2024 and really leading into 2025 saying like, golly, this guy did everything he could that following year to win without winning, including. He would have won the 2024 Tour Championship if it was being played under the 2025 format, but did not. And so, after a more challenging year last year, where he almost wins the Arnold Palmer Invitational, but of course Russell Henley kind of pips him there at the end with that chip in. It's nice to see Colin back on the winner's circle, and not necessarily. I mean, he opened the season, he missed the cut. It's the Sony and then T54, the WM Phoenix Open. And we heard him talking throughout the week with Amanda Balionis and others saying like, really, didn't feel like I had my game and kind of beating myself up trying to find it. And where's he end up in the winner's circle here on Sunday?
Yes. I for one didn't see it coming, even though any player can find form at this level and win on the PGA Tour when you have just the exceptional ball striking Collin Morikawa that he has. And you go look at his stats even from last season, you're like, oh, he had a terrible year. And you go look at his tee to green stats and he's like at the top of all these stats of whether it be iron, tee to green. And you're just thinking to yourself, why do we continue to go back and forth on this guy? Like he's a generational iron player. Like he's one of the best iron players that we've seen come up in a very long time. Now, I think there's a couple reasons that we kind of go back and forth on this. So we have that very hot 2024 season where he had 7 top 5s, multiple runner-ups, close calls, just like you were talking about, Charlie. And then even into the following season, second at Century, and then that Bay Hill loss. I think that was the one where it felt like it was Collin Morikawa's to lose. It was a difficult day, hard golf course, firm conditions. This is exactly what Collin Morikawa is built to win as far as PGA Tour events. Like that should have been felt like a shoe-in victory down the stretch. Russell Henley chips in at 16, and all of a sudden he gets off 18 and Russell Henley's winning. He's like, what just happened? And I think that event, I think, I don't know if haunted is the correct word, but I think just kind of didn't get him the confidence that he needed to carry on the rest of the season. It just kind of got worse and worse with then now changing things. He's changing putters, he's changing caddies, and we've talked about it a ton last year, Charlie, about how, him leading up to the Ryder Cup, like, do we really want to pick the guy who's like not necessarily like in form, changing a lot? Like, is that a good recipe heading into the Ryder Cup? This is also, he still made the Tour Championship, so it's not like he had like a bad year in 2025. But, and then two, the last thing I'll mention with the Ryder Cup is that how often have we brought up, gosh, how could you send out Collin Morikawa and Harris English to play in the Ryder Cup? These guys can't handle the Europeans. And I think there's just been a lot of negative talk when it comes to Collin Morikawa, just in like what he's able to bring, whether to be to the teams or what he brings to the PGA Tour week to week. And today, was it an answer to, is this guy going to win a ton moving forward? I think getting the monkey off his back was a huge start for a player like him. And you've seen it. Once he starts winning, it can come in bunches, and not just it's not just events like this, which, hey, Pebble, a signature event, it's a pretty big event, but it felt like more like a Korn Ferry Tour event with the scoring, who was going to win, a bit of race to the finish. But this guy's built to win on very difficult golf courses. So as we head into that stretch coming up, that this could be the event just to kind of get that confidence back.
Well, I mean, I think that you mentioned, why do we always doubt this guy, or why do we always kind of call his game into question? And I mean, for me, maybe individually, I'm sure others maybe feel the same way. I don't know it's so much that we call his entire game into question, it's just certain parts of it, right? Like the ball striking's been there, except for that 1 year where he had that kind of, he started hitting balls, started drawing it more so than cutting it. He's trying to kind of figure that whole piece out.
But the stats were still fine. But it just wasn't exceptional like he was talking about.
He's always been an incredible iron player, flusher of the golf ball. I just think it's the question mark's always been just, can he chip it and can he putt it?
Yeah.
And those have been, and this week, I mean, he's 46 in the field in strokes gained putting and still wins the golf tournament. And if anything, that's the greatest testament to what a great ball striking effort it was this week.
We got to talk about the Saturday round, because I sent you the stats of his Saturday round. I was like, Charlie, what is the most bizarre thing here? And you're like, dude, 18 out of 18 greens. Like, yeah, I mean, technically that's at Pebble. Not many people have done that with how small the greens are.
Yeah.
But he shot a 62 in losing strokes putting. Like, how is that possible?
Well, and that is, again, it's a testament to what a great ball striking performance it was, that he could be, he can afford to be that bad putting and still, shoot a round of whatever part that is. But yeah, I mean, I think that, I think for Collin, that's why it's kind of hard to handicap Collin on a week to week basis or event to event basis. It's like, if he strikes it at his best, like he did this week, and by the way, it is interesting looking at the changing conditions this week, something we'll talk about a little bit later in the show, but look at the top of that leaderboard of the guys that Collin Morikawa, Sepp Straka, Scotty Scheffler, Tommy Fleetwood. These guys are all flushers of the golf ball, and the conditions on Saturday and Sunday were very difficult conditions. You needed guys that could shape it, that could play in the wind, and you kind of saw that cream rise to the crop. But I just think with Collin, it's just, can you, and I love to kind of dive into the data of, like, looking at absolute stats like total putts versus strokes gained stats, because it may just be that everyone else weren't able to have elite putting weeks because you're putting on a surface like Poe that is so unpredictable, and with winds where balls are oscillating and things like that, that maybe it made his relative disadvantage smaller in absolute sense, even if relative to the field it was still large in a strokes gained sense. I don't know.
the level of hockey is being played. Like, if you're not really into the NHL, you should watch this and you will enjoy it. Like, it's a different level of hockey. Like, the NHL, basically, there's like 6 really good guys on each team. And in the Olympics, like, every guy is good. Like, it's next level. It's something to behold.
Winter Games Central, only on SportsGrid.
Road trips to Kentucky and Tennessee, which are pressure environments where mistakes can snowball a team quickly. And not even listening to those games there, how about the home games they have left with Alabama and Florida, who bring size, who bring pace, and physicality that punish you on both ends of the floor.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
The Patriots postseason to the worst regular season of the last umpteen years. Fair enough?
Fair.
All right. So the Patriots postseason, they averaged 1.13 points per drive, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The winless Cleveland Browns about 10 years ago averaged 1.22.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
The top golf story this week was 8,000 miles away in Australia, and it might be, Smylie, the top story in sports because 2 decades removed from his arrival as a pro, which we heard the Tiger comparisons, nearly 16 years removed from his first professional win, Anthony Kim goes head-to-head with really the last 2 heavyweights on the LIV Tour, Jon Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau, and fires a bogey-free 63 to win the Tour's Adelaide event. And I think just to kind of rewind a little bit, because there's so many chapters in the AK story. Like, we all remember the brash younger years, the white belts, the big belt buckles, the Nike stuff evoking comparisons to Tiger, the guy that played with no fear, beat Sergio in the Ryder Cup of Valhalla. And then the complete disappearance from golf, right? Like, and associated with that, the struggles with addiction, the struggles with mental health that he's now come out and talked about publicly in the years that have followed, and just the way he wants to make that impact on other people. And then I remember when LIV first came on the scene, there were all these persistent rumors that could Anthony Kim come out of retirement? Could the Tour try to woo him this way to take him away from LIV? Then they're all the sort of the unfounded rumors as well. Well, he won't do it because of this insurance policy that we don't really know any details about. Will he? Won't he? And then February 2024. And by the way, I'm trying to do this AK segment. I'm watching Johnson Wagner about to hit. He's about to hit the Jacob Bridgman shot off the beach here at Pebble Beach. This is so good. We'll update you on the Johnson Wagner shot when they come back from break. But then February 2024, LIV announces Anthony Kim is indeed coming back. He's going to be a wild card. I got to unearth my AK wild card hat somewhere around here in my archives that I broke out the Masters that year. We covered it on the show. We wondered how his game was going to be. And those first 2 years, the answer was not very good, or at least not the game that we were used to seeing and remembering for all the AK highlights. Like, the best finish he notched in 2 years there was a tie for 25th and not a single point scored in their sort of ranking system. And he gets relegated outside of that top 48 zone at the end of last year, but then comes back and starts 2026 with the weekend that was supposed to be the century. The only golf that was on was the LIV Promotions event. We watched Anthony Kim win that event to get back on the tour as a wild card. And then
you grinded your way through that too.
I really did. I told you I was going to watch it. And by golly, I watched it. We watched that happen. And then of course, Patrick Reed leaves the LIV Golf Tour And now there's an open spot in the 4 aces. You plug Anthony Kim right in, which is hilarious. Like Anthony Kim and Dustin Johnson on the same team golf event. Like, put me in a time capsule. Like, tell me what year that is, because if that's like 2000, that's 2008, I'm there. But so he fills that spot in the 4 aces, and now we're sitting here having witnessed probably one of the most improbable comeback stories in the sports history, just given all that history, all that went on, and where he's at, 40 years old now. Here's where I want to start, Smylie. Anthony said this after the win. For her, he's talking about his daughter Bella. To be able to run on the green and see her dad isn't a loser was one of the most special moments of my life. And I just remember you talking about, those moments, what that would feel like if that was Anna Carter, and just forgetting the golf for a second. Both of us, being dads, knowing how much that changed our life, and just looking at what he's been through and the way he's found purpose through fatherhood, amongst a number of other things, sobriety. How amazing was that moment to hear him speak about that?
Well, I could speak as a father. Okay, Bridgman's now hitting, and you got to keep me posted on this Wagner shot. I cannot miss this, man. Hold on.
We're trying to have a really somber, touching moment here, but Johnson Wagner is attempting to hit a ball off the beach here, which is just.
If you're still with us here in the live show, turn it back fantastic. On CBS so we can watch Wags try to hit this shot. Bridgman hit it a little fat.
Yeah.
Look at how many people he's got down there. He's got 8 people there.
Yeah. Okay. We got to stop down and watch this, because I think, okay, let's take some predictions here. Do you think he goes, do you think he clears it?
I think
he's got a wedge in his hand.
I think it's just going to go through the green. I think he's going to land it on, just go straight through.
Okay. Like just get it up is the main goal here.
Okay. We're digging in. Come on, Johnson. We got to do a show here. Hit the shot. Let's go.
I kind of want to see him ricochet off that wall, though, there on the right. That'd be,
all right, here we go.
That'd be delightful. Oh, contact's good. Oh, it looks really good.
All right. That's right what I thought.
Yep, that's right.
Good prediction.
That's right.
Okay.
All
right.
So Johnson Wagner, he made it on the green, into the rough on the far side, just a few paces from where Collin Morikawa hit his third shot en route to his win. So that's the wrap on Johnson Wagner.
All right, where I was going with this is that as a father of 2, I, for one, didn't get a chance to experience this win because we had lights off at 8:30 at our house on a Saturday night. That is our new norm. We like to get the lights off, make sure everybody's sleeping. And I woke up expecting to see that Bryson and John Rahm had won this golf tournament. I can't tell you the level of shock that I had on my face when I saw that Anthony Kim had won this golf tournament, and by 3. I said, what happened? And going back and looking at the highlights and seeing the putts that he made from outside of 10 feet, these were not basic putts. These are quick putts, fast green, sloping both directions at times. And Anthony was holding these putts and having fist pumps and bringing energy like it reminded you of why you liked Anthony Kim in the first place. I can remember, too, this goes all the way back to when I went to the Scotty Cameron putting studio where all the tour players get fitted. Paul, great guy there. And first time I was there, I was probably 14 years old. And I walk in and I'm so excited to get my first Circle T, really cool putter. And I didn't know what I was going to get when I got there. And he said, hey, yeah, Anthony Kim was just here and we just fitted him, for that Terillium button back putter. I'm like, well, I want to do that. I want to have the putter that Anthony Kim has. And so the putter that I got that day with the team was a putter that I use and went on tour with, the same putter. I use it for, like 10, 15 years, this putter. But so I've always been a fan of Anthony. And over the years, man, we didn't know where he went. We were always, looking for a sign. Hey, I heard a rumor about this guy said he saw Anthony at a golf course and he said he hit some shots. And I'm like, really? It was like finding Waldo. Where was he?
Yeah.
It was a ghost situation.
All right. This is the one that always gets me every year. We've been doing this for years in fantasy, and we're going to do it again this year, and there's going to be some fantasy provider that's not going to give a good answer. Shohei Ohtani should only count as one player in every league, meaning you can use him as a pitcher when you want, you can use him as a hitter when you want, buy or sell.
I'll sell this. I think he should count as two. I don't mind the only counts as one, by the way. It doesn't bother me. But I say this because, once again, if you're playing a weekly lineup league, you're never starting him as a pitcher. Never. He's always going to be a hitter. Always. All right, the Giants have already said they're going to start the season, and David Roberts mentioned he doesn't know for how long, with a six-man rotation. So you're never going to get 2 start weeks out of him. He's only going to get 1. He's too good a hitter to leave out of your lineup. You're in a daily lineup league, it's a little different, right? Then you can use him as a pitcher there. So, and I also want to see the strategy, Craig. We know he's going number 1 overall as a hitter, but where does he go as a pitcher? I'm kind of curious to see what round he'd go with, right? He's, once again, once a week, he's not going to get 32 starts. So you're probably looking at 26 starts here. So where does that put him? Round 3, round 4? I like the strategy of it. So I'd like to see him count twice there. That being said, I don't currently play in any leagues where he can go as a hitter and a pitcher. It's always just one player.
Which makes no sense to me whatsoever, that they cannot figure this out to make him just one player. He's the most valuable player in the world because of what he does. So he should be just one player, which you can just toggle in and out. Figure this out software-wise. Come on. There's never been a player like this before. I mean, I'm hosting Newswire. I'm hosting Fantasy Sports Today. Am I 2 guys? No, I'm 1.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday, starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
With Collin, you know, when it comes to closing out golf tournaments, that has been a bit of the bugaboo. I think you look back to Bay Hill last year. That's one that I think led him down a path of trying a lot of different things. Like, he was on his way in cruise control at Bay Hill where nobody's making birdies. He's got a lead. And Russell Henley's right there too. Kind of a type of player that's not going to really go away either. And Russell Henley has that moment at 16 where he chips in for eagle. And all of a sudden, he walks off the 18th green and Russell Henley somehow won the golf tournament. And I imagine after that, and Collin looking back at that, finishing second at Century at earlier in the year, but then looking back to the following year where he had 7 events where he finished inside the top 5 and multiple runner-ups, coming close to winning against Scotty a couple different places, but also even, let's throw it back even further to 2023 where he had a chance to win at Century. And if you recall down the stretch, it was a scold bunker shot at 14, a couple chunk chips at 15. Jon Rahm makes some birdies and eagles down the stretch, and Jon Rahm wins by a couple shots. So when we go all the way back to 2023 to now, what have we seen and what have we learned from Collin? Well, the player and the talent of Collin Morikawa, none of that's really gone away. But what has changed is Collin wanting to change things to try to get into the winner's circle. And what that can lead you to is down paths that maybe make him a little bit more inconsistent. You saw him change many, many putters. And hey, if this is the change that he needed to find the correct putter long-term to be the best that he can be in his career, then great. But during that time, I think it was easy for us to nitpick and say, hey, Collin's changing putters every week. He's changing caddies a lot too. Collin was a player that didn't seem like he changed a whole lot throughout the beginning of his career when he had won 2 majors in his in his debuts at some of these events. So that's kind of been the story with Collin over the last couple of years. And then throw in even just the hate that he received for the Ryder Cup, being in a pairing with Harris English that technically was a bad data pairing. But now people are like, why are you sending Collin out of the Ryder Cup? It's like, what? This guy is
one of the best on the planet. That's why he's
he's one of the best iron players in the world. And really, you know, I love his mental makeup of how he carries himself. Just has so much belief in himself. And when we've had him on the podcast, that's like the one thing that I recall thinking that, gosh, Collin has this external belief that he's going to be able to accomplish anything he sets his mind to. And so I think just the negativity that he's probably received in whether it be the social media world, even some press conferences that maybe didn't go his way and just didn't maybe word things the right way, has been kind of on a downward, spiral a little bit when it's come to a lot of things. So it's funny how a win and just different perspective too of having a kid on the way, how that might change your makeup. Not to say that Collin's a different person than he was last year or last week.
A little perspective.
But I think it's funny how when he was sitting on that 18th fairway waiting on Jacob Bridgman for 15 minutes to finish up, that he's thinking about baby names. Like before, he's probably like, if I don't win, like I'm not going to be to where I want to be. And it's just funny how that mental shakeup might change some things.
Yeah, well, I wonder, looking out into Stillwater Cove, like what was on the short list? Like how much of that was Pebble Beach inspired for baby names?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it would probably have been, we can name him Hook. We can name him Draw. We can name him OB. I'm thinking about
how does Hi-Ya sound as a name? I think you make a really lay the sod over it. It's you make a couple interesting points there. I went to the same place as you, thinking back to that conversation you had with Collin on the show, where he just strikes me someone who has no indecision. Like he's very decisive. Yes. And so that can connect to critique when he's changing a caddy or a putter or deciding not to hit approach shots with a glove. And you're saying, well, this guy, he's messing around with stuff. There's no way he's going to win. It's like, yeah, well, but he's doing it decisively. He's saying, hey, look, I need to make a change. I'm dead set on this being the change we're going to make. We're going to try this out. And then when I evaluate this, and if it's not working, we'll do something else. But there's going to be no indecision about it. And I think that is, again, to your point about standing over that approach shot on the AT&T Pebble Beach, of just saying, this is the shot we're going to hit. We're going to get it down to 2. We're going to win this golf tournament.
That's a unique trait, man. Very unique trait. A lot of people second guess themselves, have anxiety about making changes. I, for one, was that way. But Collin he can rip the Band-Aid off, and good for him. He'd be a great CEO.
Yeah. She surely would. And I thought it was interesting too, back on the putter deal. I saw this tweet from Jonathan Wall where this putter was originally built for Kurt Kitayama, and Collin stole it from him 2 weeks ago.
We went against this god-awful biggest waste of human flesh and basketball uniform Western Illinois team last time out. Remember, they actually won a game against Eastern Illinois, only their 5th win on the season, 5-21, only their 1st win in conference play in the Ohio Valley. They're hosting Little Rock. Little Rock is 6-8. They're halfway decent. I mean, they're better than 5-21.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
They're probably not going to take a lot of Seattle bets. Putting Kansas City at the same number as Detroit or behind LA, way behind Green Bay, way behind Buffalo or Baltimore, who they beat every year, it feels like they are asking for Chiefs money. That would be my read on it, which I feel like usually the idea, Cam, is they never have to ask for Chiefs money.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Was last night so tough for you to swallow that you now want to get rid of the owner?
Yeah, that's right.
Because the big bad Knicks came into town off an embarrassing loss, and you guys are flexing your muscles about
we're not flexing anything.
We're back.
Nope.
We're back. And you lost by 50?
Yeah, well, this is the problem.
Let's make the owner sell the team because
he ducked the luxury
Sixers
tax.
Can't compete.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
How good does it get, SK?
Why not us, Charlie?
Today, live from the Pinecrest Inn, it's the Smylie Show. So long, everybody.
This is the Smylie Show.
Gil, when I saw the news that you'd been brought on to design holes for TGL, the first place my brain went was the first time I played Stream Song Black. And I'm trying to remember the par 3 on the front side, like middle of the front side that has that wild green complex. And so
that could be a lot of holes at Stream Song.
I guess that's fair. But I'm curious, is there an original design of yours that when you think of the work at TGL and sort of the creativity, like that most connects to this real world course in terms of the way you designed a course like that?
Yeah, I mean, Stream Song Black is definitely the most polarizing thing we've ever built. I mean, people, it's usually either number 1 or number 3 when you go to, and I know there's a 4th course now, so maybe it'll either be 1 or 4. People either really love it or they just don't get it. And so I think that was Jim and I sort of stepping out on a ledge, trying to do something a little bit different. And the fact that red and blue are very similar and great designs by great designers. I think the one that really is the closest is Ladera, which is, a private club we designed out in Palm Springs, which is basically, it was a blank canvas. It was, Irving Azoff, Eddie Q saying, here's 300 acres. It's a lemon grove with a lot of slope, but not a lot of character, and turned it into, 18 hole, well, turned it to 27 holes. And then also land plan everything, the range, the orchards, the reestablished lemon groves, et cetera. And it was fun. It was one of the things that I feel is probably the most creative output we've ever had, because we literally had to create every square inch of that property. And so I think that was I think that design really ties a little bit more into what we were trying to do at TGL.
And looking at these 3 holes that you've designed for TGL, Gil, we have Stone and Steeple, the last hole, Cut the Sails, all 3 kind of unique in different ways. I love Stone and Steeple. Reminds me of something that could fit it like an Open Championship with the out of bounds down the left, almost Carnoustie feeling to me in that, but also, a Northeastern look to it as well. Can you talk about Stone and Steeple to start, and then also the last hole and Cut the Sails, on how y'all ended up with these unique designs?
Yeah, so this was one that I spent a lot of time on, and it's based on Hell's Half Acre, Tillinghast, Sahara holes that he built, and primarily it's a lot like 4 West at Ridgewood Country Club in New Jersey, which has a boundary and also has a cemetery. It's a chain link fence, so it's not quite as pretty as the stone wall here. But that has always been one of my favorite holes in the world. In fact, there was a book, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, where they asked architects to talk about their favorite holes, and that's the hole I picked. And so I thought, well, here's a great chance to transport the bones of that hole into a New England setting that we love, and incorporate stone walls, which we've done on some of our designs, both in the Northeast and in Scotland. So it was one of these things where really trying to get the players, in this instance, to have to shape the shot. You have to hit a cut off the tee to get to the longest part of the fairway, which then might actually get you, you've got to aim at that out of bounds to kind of cut the second shot back in. And it's been fun to watch. They sent me a tape of this hole, and it's not easy. It really has played difficult. But I think, again, it was just a lot of what Scott and Ian talked about was trying to create angles, which we do in our architecture anyway, but trying to get these guys to shape shots to get to the proper position off the tee.
Yeah, and then heading over to last hole, Gil, I'd heard that this is inspired in some way, shape, or form by your consumption of is it the Walking Dead, or you have a zombie show of your liking that inspired this?
No, I think that was Jeff Newbarth kind of threw that out there. He's the producer. He's no, I don't like scary stuff. I don't watch any of that stuff. I'm much more into comedy. No, actually, Kevin Murphy, one of our design partners, we started talking about what if we could put a golf hole in an urban setting. And there was a golf hole that I proposed to the TGL folks that was based. It was a real life setting in Brooklyn. Kind of, there's a carousel right below the Brooklyn Bridge, and there's actually a beautiful. The East River forms like a perfect diagonal, and if you could fit a golf hole in there, with the Brooklyn Bridge as the backdrop. And then the guy said, "Well, we're doing city holes, so that would have to be New York team's hole, so we can't use that one." But there was a kernel of an idea for a par three. And the par threes proved to be the most difficult to design, right? Because the green complex is always the same.
Sure.
So it's like, all right, you're hitting into it, you're twisting it and turning it, but how do you make it more interesting? And Kevin was the one who came up with, well, let's take the bridge idea. Let's get this sort of dystopian, post-apocalyptic vision, zombies, whatever. And then, have the bridge decompose, but have elements of it be the challenge for the tee shot on the par three. So it took that. And I think there's another hole that was created this year. It's called Stinger, where I think you got to hit it low underneath something. So I think that's another cool aspect of asking these guys to have to hit different types of shots that they're not used to on a par three, where the green complex is just rotated.
And then I guess we'll finish up here. Well, we're not going to finish up here. This is the last hole we have a video of, is Cut the Sails. But then we have to finish with your breakdown of a new hole you're debuting, which we can't even get insider access to video of that hole. That's how new that one and behind the scenes that one is. But here's Cut the Sails, which of course it's a par 4, 429 yards.
Yeah, where does this fit in your brain in the world? Where does this hole, if you could place it anywhere on any piece of property, where does it fit for you?
So another design partner, Ben Hillard, is the one who came up with this idea, and he's an Aussie. So he was really thinking it was going to sit more in a sandbelt type setting, more dunescape, etc. But I think there were probably enough of those types of holes already in the Rota. So the TGL team talked with us about putting it in the coastline, and I think somewhere in the Nantucket type frame.
Yeah,
so
that's the vibe that it looks like.
So the guts and the bones of the hole are the same as what Ben designed. It's just the setting sits in there a little bit differently. And somebody, one of my good friends said, they saw this hole and they asked if we also designed the sailboats that were out in the distance. And I said, no, unless they have tie-dye sails on them. It's otherwise, we didn't touch them. So it's a really cool hole. Again, I enjoyed watching. I think I've only seen one that's been played one time, but it was, again, you had to shape a shot. I think Wyndham Clark thought he had cut it enough, but he didn't quite. And then basically the contours will take the ball. And if you're not aggressive, you can wind up, down the left-hand side behind the bunker with playing into that green, which is a really challenging little chip shot. And it's funny when you think about it. It's the same thing when we were designing, when we were working on TPC Boston, when you've got tour players, they don't all hit at the same distance. So you're trying to design a hole that the short's not the right word, because the shorter hitters still hit it a long way. They have access to kind of sneak it through that gap, and they don't have to carry the bunker, but you get the setting where the longer players, the more aggressive line is to go over the bunker, but the results could be the same with very, very different types of shots.
So, Gil, all we have for this last hole is the name of the hole. We don't know the par. We don't know the yardage. We know it's called Lavender Lane. So this is we're going to learn about this live. Walk us through it.
Well, it's perfectly fitting that I'm actually at Sunningdale right now. Well, not literally, but we're here working at Sunningdale, and it's based on a Heathland golf hole, and so lavender is the purple from the heather. So there's a lot of purple. There's a lot of heather. Tom Simpson is one of the more underappreciated golf architects of all time, but he was perhaps the most creative, certainly one of the most eccentric. And so we tried to build a hole that Simpson might be proud of. And he had this great book, The Architectural Side of Golf. And in it, he did all these beautiful sketches. And so we borrowed liberally from a couple of his sketches and tried to put together a hole. Whereas on Stone and Steeple, we're asking the players to really have to hit a cut to get to the right spot. Here, we're asking them to hit a draw to get to the right spot and play in it from a different angle. So again, this one's predicated more on carrying the heather and bunkers to get in place. And it's a par 4, but it really, again, sets up quite nicely for different angles. But I'm excited to see it. I think I haven't even seen the finished product. I've seen the different versions of it, and it could be the prettiest of the holes that we've created.
I got to ask you this, because, when they announced all these holes coming out, Gil, it was a big reveal, and TGL had announced that, hey, be on the lookout on our socials tomorrow. And the one thing that I did not expect to see was Gil Hanse walking through a cloud of smoke with music and a DJ.
Dallas Cowboys. Like, they're competitive every year. They're going to win a Super Bowl? No, but at least at the beginning of the season, like, I have aspirations to make a playoff, maybe win the division and see what we can do. For the Raiders, every day, the minute you kick off week number 1, you are out of the playoff picture. You stink and can't perform. That's tough because you don't get a 20-year career as a defensive end typically in the NFL. So your time now is to strike. I have all the money. Now I want to win.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
So Gary Bettman wants the USA to win because he knows the bump that they can get out of this. Canada wins, and it's like, yeah, whatever. Right? And the level of pressure on Canada in this is next level. It's like it's equivalent to like Argentina in soccer or something, Brazil. It's one of those like, yeah, if you lose, don't bother coming home.
Winter Games Central, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Road trips to Kentucky and Tennessee, which are pressure environments where mistakes can snowball a team quickly. And not even listening to those games there, how about the home games they have left with Alabama and Florida, who bring size, who bring pace, and physicality that punish you on both ends of the floor.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Let's move next, Smylie, to Pebble Beach, the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, where Collin Morikawa gets an emotional win for the first time since the Zozo in the fall of 2023. And this is something that has been a long time coming in terms of the way we've talked about Collin's game on this show. I mean, 2024, Collin did everything he possibly could to win a golf tournament without winning a golf tournament, including playing in the Tour Championship. He would have won the Tour Championship if it was played on the 2025 format, but of course there were starting strokes in 24, so he does not win that event. And then there's the near miss last year in 2025 at the Arnold Palmer Invitational, where Russell Henley's insane chip in ends up kind of pipping him at the end. And so we see Collin finishing out, winning by a stroke on the 18th green. Another emotional finish as his wife, Kat, comes out. They're expecting a child. Just both the release of a long-awaited win and also what it means now, again, framed in the context of becoming a father soon. And then also just had to get in the notes because we started the week watching Tommy Fleetwood decked out in all Pebble Beach gear. Every single day had something new from the pro shop, a rite of passage out there. And then the last thing Collin did before leaving the property is he and Kat went and hit the shop, picked out about 7 different hats and shirts. Kat got a little teddy bear for the baby on the way. And there's a picture of him on the plane home. And he's already got his hat and his vest on, just saying, I think I'll be wearing this for a long, long while. So just try to kind of sum up the day, the week for Collin, all the struggles he's been through with short game and putting, but just truly elite ball striking that kind of drove this win this week.
100%. But I also think he made some key putts down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
And in years past, maybe not making those putts down the stretch. Made a big one at the 15th hole, also the 16th, and just some, like you said, just exquisite iron shots throughout the week. I even go back to his Saturday round where he shot a 10 under par 62, which got him into that final grouping. And he did it in the most insane fashion. 18 greens at Pebble Beach, which is very, very difficult to do if you've ever played Pebble, super small greens.
Yes.
But then also, he did it with losing strokes game putting. And he also, for the week, lost strokes game putting and still won a golf tournament where you had to go low. So his iron game was phenomenal. Even look back to last season. It really, you can look back to many, many, many seasons with Collin Morikawa. He is a generational iron player. We saw it this week. We've seen it throughout his entire career. But certainly we saw some incredible shots. With Collin, when it comes to closing out golf tournaments, that has been a bit of the bugaboo. I think you look back to Bay Hill last year. That's one that I think led him down a path of trying a lot of different things. Like he was on his way in cruise control at Bay Hill where nobody's making birdies. He's got a lead. And Russell Henley's right there too. Kind of a type of player that's not going to really go away either. And Russell Henley has that moment at 16 where he chips in for eagle. And all of a sudden, he walks off the 18th green and Russell Henley somehow won the golf tournament. And I imagine after that, and Collin looking back at that, finishing second at Century at earlier in the year, but then looking back to the following year where he had 7 events where he finished inside the top 5 and multiple runner-ups, coming close to winning against Scotty a couple different places, but also even let's throw it back even further to 2023 where he had a chance to win at Century. And if you recall down the stretch, it was a scold bunker shot at 14, a couple chunk chips at 15. John Rahm makes some birdies and eagles down the stretch, and John Rahm wins by a couple shots. So when we go all the way back to 2023 to now, what have we seen and what have we learned from Collin? Well, the player and the talent of Collin Morikawa, none of that's really gone away. But what has changed is Collin wanting to change things to try to get into the winner's circle. And what that can lead you to is down paths that maybe make him a little bit more inconsistent. You saw him change many, many putters. And hey, if this is the change that he needed to find the correct putter long-term to be the best that he can be in his career, then great. But during that time, I think it was easy for us to nitpick and say, hey, Collin's changing putters every week. He's changing caddies a lot too. Collin was a player that didn't seem like he changed a whole lot throughout the beginning of his career when he had won 2 majors in his in his debuts at some of these events. So that's kind of been the story with Collin over the last couple of years. And then throw in even just the hate that he received for the Ryder Cup, being in a pairing with Harris English that technically was a bad data pairing. But now people are like, why are you sending Collin out of the Ryder Cup? It's like, what? This guy is
one of the best on the planet. That's why he's
one of the best iron players in the world. And really, I love his mental makeup of how he carries himself. Just has so much belief in himself. And when we've had him on the podcast, that's like the one thing that I recall thinking that, gosh, Collin has this external belief that he's going to be able to accomplish anything he sets his mind to. And so I think just the negativity that he's probably received in whether it be the social media world, even some press conferences that maybe didn't go his way and just didn't maybe word things the right way, has been kind of on a downward, spiral a little bit when it's come to a lot of things. So it's funny how a win and just different perspective too of having a kid on the way, how that might change your makeup. Not to say that Collin's a different person than he was last year or last week.
A little perspective.
But I think it's funny how when he was sitting on that 18th fairway waiting on Jacob Bridgman for 15 minutes to finish up, that he's thinking about baby names. Like before he's probably like, if I don't win, like I'm not going to be to where I want to be. And it's just funny how that mental shakeup might change some things.
Yeah, well, I wonder, looking out into Stillwater Cove, like what was on the short list, like how much of that was Pebble Beach inspired for baby names?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it would probably have been. We can name him Hook. We can name him Draw. We can name him OB. I'm thinking about
how does Hi-Ya sound as a name? I think you make a really lay the sod over it. It's you make a couple interesting points there. I went to the same place as you, thinking back to that conversation you had with Collin on the show, where he just strikes me someone who has no indecision. Like he's very decisive. Yes. And so that can connect to critique when he's changing a caddy or a putter or deciding not to hit approach shots with a glove. And you're saying, this guy, this is messing around with stuff. There's no way he's going to win. It's like, yeah, well, but he's doing it decisively.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
I don't think he was trying to take a shot at the team at all. It was just a plain and simple and obvious fact.
I think what's difficult, though, is, and I agree with you, right? I guess I agree with LeBron. The assessment of it all, it's why the Lakers organization seems to be comfortable with that truth, unless they disagree. But again, I don't really know how you disagree.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
You guys had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. You knew you were facing a Mike McDonald defense that disguises everything, and that was your game plan, to play scared. I mean, Mike Vrabel, I love the guy. He played that game, Donnie, like it was a preseason scrimmage in August and not the Super Bowl.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
It looked like a clump of grass. It didn't look like an eagle. That's the one, by the way, that USA Today claimed was the best ad. They thought the Lay's ad was number 2. The worst ad was any ad that had AI in it or had an AI company behind it. It wasn't because of the AI. It was because they were the most nonsensical ads you've ever seen. Does anybody look at these ads and understand if they are actually trying to do what they're trying to do, which is to showcase the product as opposed to being great with AI? Very embarrassing.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Pebble Beach is went and just cleaned out all the shops there that are adjacent to the putting green, because he had a new Pebble Beach hat or beanie or vest or quarter zip or hoodie for every single round this week, which really, that was near and dear to my heart as a guy who also merches out everywhere I go, as Smylie knows well. Bring home a new bag just about every day when we go outside for these majors. It was heartwarming to see Tommy embrace that in the way that he did. I just think that's so interesting, Smylie, that whether he knows there's a larger deal that's going to be negotiated, or doesn't feel like he needs something in the interim, just say, okay, let's just see what's good in the pro shop and just go out and wear it. And I think that's also funny too, because you'd expect some of these guys, like, do they have different performance material stuff? Do they have something that I can't get? It's like, he's just wearing the same beanie that Joe from Wisconsin has over there at the 8:48 tee time. It's going on right behind him with a push cart. Like, it's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, the coolest part about it to me is because you have to imagine the pro shop is open to the public for people to shop throughout the week at the AT&T. I'm sure there's a big merch tent as well. But can you imagine just being there with your family and you just look over to your right and you see Tommy Fleetwood saying, do you guys have this in a medium? I love this shirt for tomorrow. And then you're sitting here with your shirt that you had. You're like, well, I probably need to wear what Tommy's wearing tomorrow. I'm going to have to get that. So then you just end up buying whatever Tommy buys in the shop. He's like, oh, let me get one of those divot repair tools. Oh yeah, let me get one of those. Oh, and even the branded rangefinder, we'll take that too.
Yeah, branded rangefinder. Can you imagine? He's got like 2 hangers up. He's like, which one of these do you like better?
and that bucket hat over there. Do we get a free bowl of chili in the tap room if we wear one of these? Come on, help me out with the movie. So come on, you know the movie.
Free bowl of chili.
Not free bowl of chili. Bowl of soup.
What?
Caddyshack.
Yeah, free. Yeah. I knew that.
Yeah,
I knew that, right?
You've never been a great movie quote guy on the show.
I'm not. Because I know the movie quotes, but often I need to go and look them up and place them. I have very small short list of movie quotes all the time. What was the one? Other guys.
The other guy.
Aim for the bushes.
It was also I gotta look up. It's when Will Ferrell gets into the whole thing with the lion and the tuna, I think, on who would win the battle between lion and tuna. And Will Ferrell has like the best impromptu monologue of all time. Yes,
yeah.
it is unreal. It's so good. Such good acting. And my type of humor, unfortunately.
Yeah. Great movie. Rewatchable, undoubtedly. I mean, I thought it was interesting. You got, Minwoo Lee 700 today. Obviously he's hitting it pretty good right now. Sepp in the mix. I mean, there are a lot of names that I still the small field just doesn't. I just wish it was 100 guys. I don't know. I'm in the same place on this sort of stuff.
I'm sitting here trying to find this quote.
Here we go. We've completely.
Even if you were in my even if you weren't in my food chain, I would go out of my way to attack you. If I were a lion and you were a tuna, I would swim out to the middle of the ocean and freaking eat you. Then I'd bang your tuna girlfriend. Well, okay, first off, a lion swimming in the ocean? Lions don't even like water. If you place it near a river or some sort of fresh water source, that makes sense. But you find yourself in an ocean, a 20-foot wave, I'm assuming it's off the south coast of South Africa, coming up against a full-grown 800-pound tuna with 20 or 30 friends. You lose that battle 9 times out of 10. And guess what? You wandered to our school of tuna. We now have a taste of blood. We've talked to ourselves. We've communicated and said, you know what? Lion tastes good. Let's go get some more lion. We've developed a system to establish a beachhead and aggressively hunt you and your family, and we will quarter your pride, your children, and your offspring. How are you going to do that? We will construct a series of breathing apparatus with kelp. I mean, just the most unreal impromptu
it's so good.
thing I've ever. I mean, come on, dude. Will Ferrell's the best. I don't care if you
he is
think
the best.
Think he's stupid.
That's another one too. Like on the topic of animals that we think of differently. Like tunas are. I mean, most people know this now, but you kind of grow up and you got the little can of tuna, the Charlie tuna, like, and tunas is kind of like little piddly fish. Like tunas are massive, dude.
Oh, huge.
They're huge. You're
grouper too.
Fish. Grouper huge. We think we have an all-timer. And probably not the way you're thinking of either, but we think we have an all-timer coming out this week. So just stay tuned and look for that in your feeds on Wednesday, if indeed we were able to pull it off. So
that's right.
That's it. That's all we got, Smylie.
That's right. All right, I'm gonna eat some chicken noodle soup.
Yeah, I'm gonna go sleep for about 14 hours. Thanks everyone for hanging out. We appreciate you watching and listening and commenting as always, and we'll hope to be streaming live with you once again very soon. Talk to you later.
Peace.
We'll see you next week on the Golf Channel. This has been The Smylie Show.
You're just trying to always build around what somebody does well. What is the DNA, the nucleus of what they do? Yeah. And everybody who gets to the tour is great at something because they're the top 1% of the 1% of golfers around the world. So I think people sometimes forget that, that won't work. Well, if you'd gone back 15 years, people would look at Scotty Scheffler and probably go, that's not going to work.
The Smylie Show, only on SportsGrid.
Super Bowl Sunday, about $870 million was traded. Again, I caution you, that is not the same as sports betting handle for a variety of reasons, but we also saw Nevada sportsbooks, which includes Las Vegas, only took about $133 million in handle. That was its worst performance in the decade in terms of total handle on the game. Now, we don't have ratings. We don't have a lot of other things. There's a lot of reasons for that.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The Patriots postseason to the worst regular season of the last umpteen years. Fair enough?
Fair.
All right. So the Patriots postseason, they averaged 1.13 points per drive, okay? Mm-hmm. The winless Cleveland Browns about 10 years ago averaged 1.22.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
So Gary Bettman wants the USA to win because he knows the bump that they can get out of this. Canada wins, and it's like, yeah, whatever, right? And the level of pressure on Canada in this is next level. It's like it's equivalent to like Argentina in soccer or something, Brazil. It's one of those like, yeah, if you lose, don't bother coming home.
Winter Game Central, only on SportsGrid.